tragedy that's happening in Texas. They say the flood has killed more than 80 people confirmed, but they're still looking for survivors. And this is one of the reasons why I say it's important for us to be 100% thankful for the circumstance that we in. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock, y'all.
Heartbreak and hope in Texas this morning after catastrophic floods. At least 82 people have died, mostly in Kerr County. This is outside San Antonio. Dozens, though, are still missing, and that number includes children from Camp Mystic, one of multiple camps along the Guadalupe River. Many now question if there was enough advance warning of this. CBS News correspondent Jason Allen has been in Kerrville, Texas since Friday. Jason, I think we spoke as soon as you arrived on the scene. Help us understand how bad things were and how things look today.
Well, it's been stunning for people, Errol, to see the extent of destruction. And this is in an area of the country, a part of Texas, where they know it as Flash Flood Alley. There have been many flash floods here in the past, and even the extent of this one surprises them. It's a combination of extreme rainfall you can get with moisture moving up from the Gulf and very thin layer of topsoil. Officials here say that they rescued more than 850 people over the last 3 days, some of them from the tops of trees and others from rooftops.
That's crazy.
Hundreds of first responders spread out across the Guadalupe River. They climbed over debris piles, searched mangled cars, and combed riverbanks that floodwaters scoured. Torrential rain caused one river to surge nearly 26 feet in just 45 minutes early Friday morning.
We're at Camp Mystic looking for our kids.
Children's summer camps dot the shoreline of the Guadalupe. At Camp Mystic, an all-girls summer camp, the river started running through cabins where children were sleeping. Nearly a dozen 3rd and 4th grade girls are still missing.
We're looking for places that they're going to potentially be alive.
Further down the river, the flooding ripped through homes and campgrounds where families were staying for the holiday weekend.
We're still hoping for the best. That's all we can do, and pray.
Brian Blackbird came to the house his family owned, looking for signs of his sister and brother-in-law, Beth and Hutch Bryan. They had friends staying with them. Only one escaped.
He said he and Martha made their way, fighting the current around the house, and that's when she got swept away.
Amid the heartbreak, incredible stories of survival.
All of a sudden we just hear somebody say, "Help, help!"
Sisters Natalie and Emily Rayford said they spent 20 minutes trying to pinpoint those screams. Then they said an 8-year-old girl who had floated 6 miles from Camp Mystic appeared from a pile of debris.
Did you ask her what had happened, how she was able to make it?
Yeah, we asked her what happened, and she said that her cabin was flooding and someone opened a window and she just flew out of it.
The sudden rush of water reached this RV park, packed with campers.
Everybody on the level where the water is in right now, they were barely getting out with their pajamas on and their dogs. And their
Lorena Guillen said in the rush to wake people up, they could only watch helplessly as one family was swept away.
Just
That's crazy to think about, yo. Yo, we sit here and we whine and we complain about the dumbest stuff. And don't get me wrong, I like to talk about things that are entertaining. But yo, to know that somebody just got swept away like that somebody was at summer camp and then they just get swept away and then some flash flooding come in. And some people are saying that this is right outside of San Antonio. I had planned on visiting San Antonio, I believe in September or something like that. And so I don't know exactly where this is or you know, how you make sense of it or anything like that. But this is heartbreaking. It is. This is heartbreaking. And I think that this is a reminder also that we have to take life seriously and we can't just take everything for granted. We assume that when we go outside every day that everything is going to be okay. We assume that when we leave out the house every day that you're not going to get into an accident. We assume that you know, you're going to wake up and your kids going to go to camp and then they're going to make it home the next day. We assume that, you know, the weather and the cruise and everything is going to go according to whatever is planned. But in 45 minutes, everything can change. Your life can change. I just got a super chat where a guy was saying that his father had passed away and he wasn't able to reconcile. And so we have to be nicer to each other. We have to be cool. We have to be calm. We got to be collected and we got to make sure. You said this is an hour north of San Antonio. Okay. I got you. Somebody said, do they make an announcement on the news before this happens? I heard that it was a lot of alerts. People were saying that there were tons of alerts that was going out to people's phones prior to it happening, but it was called it's a flash flood, so it just happens instantly, and so it's nothing that you can do about it. I think that we truly underestimate. They like to call it Mother Nature. We truly underestimate Mother Nature, man. We underestimate Mother Nature. We take life for granted. We do. We really take life for granted. We don't really have respect for life. And part of it isn't our fault. A lot of it is because we've been civilized for so long and we have modern technology that allows for us to live a phenomenal life that I don't think that we really value it as much as we should, which is one of the reasons why we don't really take things serious. We do, man. We do. Let me also say this too. Everywhere you live, no matter where you live in the United States of America, there is no perfect place. Let me say that again for the people in the back. There is no perfect place. If you over in Miami, you got to deal with hurricane season. If you in Texas, there's a possibility you're going to have flash flooding depending on where you are. If you in, and of course I know that there's different parts of Texas and all of that, but I'm speaking in general. If you over in Los Angeles, you might have to deal with forest fires and mudslides and you know what I'm saying, earthquakes that'll split the whole Los Angeles apart, right? If you are over in Oklahoma City, then you're going to have to deal with Tornado Alley. If you over on the East Coast and you in New York, you got to deal with crazy snow. If you in Michigan, you might have to deal with snow, and the Midwest is a little bit better, except for people don't like the cold weather, right? They don't like all four seasons. So no matter where you go, you're going to be picking and choosing to deal with something, and you got to pick your battle. You got to pick your poison. Nowhere is going to be perfect, and if it was, then all of the rich people would take it over.
It's great. It's great. I mean, it was very, very difficult.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott said no one anticipated the severity of the storm.
The moment in time when they knew the magnitude of the water, it's a difficult decision whether or not to begin evacuating people.
Look at that. That looked crazy.
And despite deadly floods here in the past, there is no outdoor warning system here, no sirens that you will find in other parts of the state. Instead, they rely on forecasts and rely on predictions from the National Weather Service. Now, local officials have talked for several years about adding one of those systems, specifically back in 2017. They balked at the time because of the cost. Greg Abbott did mention yesterday that the state is going to look now at fixing that. And Errol, President...
Somebody said Arizona is probably the best. No. Arizona, man, them temperatures. Go outside during the heat of the summer. Arizona temperatures is crazy. Arizona temperatures, they don't even have grass in some places in Arizona. And Arizona is kind of boring. Like, in a lot of places in Arizona, it's like a retirement community. And they have water problems.
Trump is expected to visit the area on Friday.
Yeah, wow, such an eye-opener for so many people. Jason, you got so many incredible
See what I'm saying?
stories
Phoenix
from
is
people
110 a day.
over the
I'm
weekend.
straight.
What are you seeing today?
You know what really stands out to me, and especially from this position here, Errol, is how you look around and away from the river. We're about 100 yards or so. It doesn't look like anything happened. The leaves are still on the trees. Very different from when we would be in a hurricane zone or after a tornado or a fire. And yet when you get up close to the river in the impacted areas, it's unrecognizable. In some cases, I've had to ask people.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Here because
remember when and there's nothing you can even do about it because that's just the way that the earth is. Remember when I think it was last year and they was trying to warn everybody over in Tampa to get out of Tampa because of what had happened, I believe, in North Carolina and all of that stuff. And nobody was moving. And there was a lot of people that decided that they wasn't going anywhere and nothing happened. It wasn't as bad. They even had Lieutenant Dan. He went viral because he ain't had no leg and he was living on a boat. And then all of a sudden everybody stole his GoFundMe money and all of that stuff. People don't really take a lot of warnings seriously, bro. That looks insane. That looks crazy, bro. She pregnant.
Next day, we know this family, the couple, were missing in their 70s, and
somebody said 100 at night got to be capped. Nah, Deion Sardines, you wrong. Listen. If it happened in Las Vegas, I know it could happen over in Arizona. I was out at Vegas one year, and that junk was like 100. I think it was during the pandemic or something like that. It was like 117 degrees in the daytime and almost 100 degrees at different parts of the nighttime before it got late into the night. So I know it's possible over in Arizona, 100%.
Waited for the road to clear. On the 5th, we came and we searched for about 10 miles. We found 2 bodies, a little girl and a little boy. And then we finally came up here and we found the dad that we were looking for. And today we came back because we haven't found the wife. And we believe she's still here in the area. And so we had a great group of people show up, about 40 to 50 volunteers, just looking through rummage and digging up as much as we can.
I don't want to live nowhere where it's 102 overnight.
We knew that they weren't really searching this way past Mystic, because I know we need to help those girls, but we were able to find him. So we were hopeful we would be able to find her. It turns out it's very difficult. It seems like it's getting more and more tedious to find.
That's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Prayers up for everybody over there
and we are getting breaking news out of Central Texas in Kerr County. Camp Mystic just released a statement about its campers and counselors. Let's get right to CNN anchor Pam Brown, who is nearby for the latest. Pam, what are you hearing?
This is the first time Camp Mystic is releasing a statement with a number of deaths. And in this statement, John, Camp Mystic says it is grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors following the catastrophic flooding on the Guadalupe River. The statement goes on to say our hearts are broken alongside our families that are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We are praying for them constantly. We have been in communication with local and state authorities who are tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for our missing girls. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. We ask for your continued prayers, respect, and privacy for each of our families affected. May the Lord continue to wrap his presence around all of us. 27 young souls, these young campers, John, and young counselors. Remember, these counselors are teenagers for the most part. Many of them jumped into action. They were heroes. But as we are getting from this statement, some died as well. Camp Mystic did not say how many of those 27 were campers versus counselors, but presumably the bulk of them are campers. And I just can't stop thinking, John, that it was just a little over a week ago that parents dropped their young children off to have the best 4 weeks of their life at Camp Mystic, a camp I attended 30 years ago. And now some of those same parents are going to the local funeral home to potentially identify their child. It's just beyond comprehension, the heartbreak here. You feel it all around. John?
It just has to be overwhelming to be there, Pam. And again, this statement from Camp Mystic is really the first time we have heard them address fatalities. They're grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors, I think confirming many of the worst fears that so many have been having there. Thank you for being there. Keep us posted. Obviously, this is developing.
That's heartbreaking, bro. That's devastating. That is absolutely devastating in every single way. And it's not even nobody's fault. The worst part about it is that you don't have nobody to blame. That's when you start having conversations with God, like, God, why did this happen to me and stuff like that? That is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. Because, usually, like, if it's like a responsible party or something like that, or a school shooter or something, you can usually have somebody to point to and blame and hold somebody accountable for it. But you can't even hold nobody accountable. It's just like, yo, life happens. It just is what it is. That's why you got to be very, very careful of how you treat people, because you could be up today and it could be gone tomorrow. And that's why you don't let the sun go down on your wrath, and you got to be forgiving because you don't want to live with regret. Man, that is heartbreaking. I think the most heartbreaking part about it for me personally is not just that, the camp and all of that, but it's to think about the fact that it's young people, which means that they probably suffered the whole time. They probably was suffering as whatever was happening was happening. That is heartbreaking, bro. That really is heartbreaking. Prayers up for the families. I've seen people on the news and people on social media trying to politicize this and somehow make this some kind of political issue. Everything is not a political issue. Sometimes it's just life.